What's up, everybody? Jimmy Faluca reporting with Frank. Frank, how's it going, buddy?
We're here again, James.
That we are. WrestleMania 32 is come and gone. I remember so many shows that we did, Frank, leading up to WrestleMania, even a year prior, and I put together so many super cards for WrestleMania 32, and I have to say, I don't think that this year's WrestleMania was worth paying $5.99 to see, because, and here's my reason, not a single storyline was furthered. If you think about it, not a single one. The ladder match, which was good, turned out to be a complete waste of time. If you look at what happened the night after, the women's match was good. The women's match was very good, and I had no problem with Charlotte winning. The Bray Wyatt segment with The Rock, I mean, unnecessary is the only word I could use to describe it. I'm amazed at the United States Championship, after John Cena spent over a year trying to make mean something, wasn't even on the main show. Just goes to show you, what did we say for all those months? The second Cena drops that title, where's it going to go back to?
In the trash can.
Well, right back down to where it was. Never had anything to do. And to all the Cena supporters that always hate on Frank and I, we told you. And of course you don't listen, because you have undying faith in the fake C Nation, and you have undying faith in the WWE that they're doing the right thing. Well, ding, no, they didn't, because that United States Championship don't mean fucking shit. After all of those finisher fests, because that's what they were, those Cena matches, finisher fests that you guys call great matches, that belt has gone back to meaning absolutely nothing. Jesus Christ.
Well, let's start off WrestleMania weekend and the NXT show, which
we'll get into NXT afterwards, because I think we'll get into NXT right after WrestleMania, because you would think the developmental show wouldn't be as good as WrestleMania, and it blew WrestleMania out of the water, top to bottom.
It was exciting.
Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose.
It was a match that should have never took place.
Absolutely stupid. How? Please, somebody who incessantly defends the company, to me, Frank, Henry, Ray, Rob, all of us that put question marks on this, we want to know, how did Dean Ambrose benefit from not only losing to Brock Lesnar, like he was absolutely nothing? Dean Ambrose, not once in that entire feud, looked like he even had a remote chance. You want to know what this feud, the story would have told? Dean Ambrose is a moron.
Oh, absolutely. Let's just start the hype for that match. The Mick Foley giving him the bat with the barbed wire, Terry Funk giving him the chainsaw, and Dean Ambrose looked like a complete idiot week in and week out, saying how he was going to face Brock Lesnar and he was going to beat him. And I think, to tell you the truth, that was a subtle burial for Dean Ambrose. He's too popular. He was too popular going into WrestleMania, and if you wanted a perfect way to bury him and take his oomph away, I think that match sure did it. And it wasn't even the result of it. That match was nothing. It was did they use any weapons besides the kendo sticks?
Dean Ambrose barely got any offense whatsoever.
He
Brock Lesnar basically suplexed him for 13 minutes.
He threw a couple of chairs.
Him up the chairs and pinned him, and that's it.
Not only the result, the match was cut short. It wasn't even that exciting.
This was one of your money matches for WrestleMania, and you gave them 13 minutes. And you made half of that money match not look like he belonged whatsoever. Why? Is there any reasoning behind it?
I'm telling you, I think it was a purposeful way of
Now, why
burying
did
him.
they bury Dean Ambrose, Frank, from your perspective?
Why? Because he's too popular. He was the most popular performer going into WrestleMania. He was Roman Reigns' boo shield, right? He was a sidekick. Roman Reigns, he has to attach himself and leech off the popular star. Haven't we seen that before?
Of course we have. We've seen it with that son of a bitch.
All right.
And that's your reason why he's getting all those boos.
And then just look at it. It took all his momentum away. The week prior, he lost. He had, even though it was a very good match, Triple H. Well, it was decent.
I can't remember the last time Dean Ambrose has won on pay-per-view.
Right. So
in a one-on-one match.
So how do you expect going into a match against Brock Lesnar for him to actually win, and make it seem credible? I mean, if you're gonna beat Brock Lesnar, you have
the match was stupid. The structure of the match was stupid. The result was stupid. It was just stupid. I don't know how else to describe it. Now let's get into this Hell in a Cell match. Another match that was, considering what happened the next night on Raw, a complete waste of time.
It was a high spot. One high spot that everybody knew was coming, and give props to Shane. You know,
this was me during the entire match, Frank, just like this.
Yeah, because
Never once did I feel excited. And that was the first for me. For me to not be excited during an Undertaker match at WrestleMania, I gave no fucks for this match.
And not to mention, I know you're not going to like to hear this, but we got the old version of The Undertaker. And I mean old as an age. He didn't – maybe it takes a top-notch opponent to get him going.
Let's call it what it was, Frank. The match sucked.
Yeah, when he went against Bray Wyatt in the previous WrestleMania, he didn't look all that sharp. He came back and had two stellar matches against the other Brock Lesnar feud. I thought it was 2 or 3 matches they have.
They had 2.
I thought those were very good matches. He showed a spark of youth. But this match, I don't know. He looked very old. He looked winded.
The Undertaker needs to retire. End of story. And not by losing to John Cena. I don't give a fuck what anyone says.
No, yeah, I don't think you have to worry about that.
I have zero interest in seeing Justin Bieber beat John Wayne in the shootout.
Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about that. If you notice, they're already phasing John Cena out. So I don't think he's gonna be getting that untouchable booking anymore. That's left to Roman Reigns now.
No one should be getting that untouchable booking, and that's the whole point. The reason nobody should be getting that untouchable booking is because it makes everyone else inadequate.
Well, somebody should get it if they deserve it. You get the untouchable booking when you become universally over, not the other way around. You don't get the untouchable booking to get you universally over. You get the untouchable booking when you are universally over.
That's the way it was supposed to be.
Like Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold,
Rock.
The Ultimate Warrior, Rock.
To a lot of extent, The Undertaker, because he very rarely,
Right. The Undertaker, he's
very rarely, if ever, lost clean. But nobody ever had a problem with that. I wonder why. Now let's get into this main event. Oh my God, Frank!
I can't believe they actually.
I told you.
I know.
Holding the title high was going on last.
I can't.
Explain that to Nick Durst, because, and this is another thing. I hope Nick is watching. I really hope he's watching on this one. When you post this, Frank, tag him in it.
Well, I think the fact that they knew the next night that Vince was going to let Shane run the company anyway. I think that had a lot to do with it. You know, if they were going to put that match on last, only to have Vince, you know, just make him run Raw the next night, that would have really been a clusterfuck.
The whole storyline between Shane and The Undertaker was cockeyed.
Yeah,
made no sense in the end.
This WrestleMania finally caught up to them. We've seen the last 2-3 years of less than average build-up, and WrestleMania 30 was saved by Daniel Bryan. Of course, we don't have to get into that.
No, we don't.
That was by pulling teeth. Last year was pretty decent, but this year caught up to them.
WrestleMania had shitty build-up, but it was saved by the match quality.
Yeah, and of course the Reigns and Brock, that was a very good match. If you go back and look at it, that was a very good match.
Reigns and Brock was good. It made this match between Roman Reigns and Triple H look like amateur hour.
It was just a long extended Raw match. That's all
Roman
it was.
Reigns and Triple H have zero chemistry. That was proven. Number one. Number two, Roman Reigns has been getting viciously booed by the audience.
Troll booing.
With no sign that anything is going to change. And people could say whatever they want about him acting like a dick and all that. No, he needs to just turn.
Listen, I think he already has. I mean, he's definitely, like he says, he's not. He's now everybody's running the line. You know, they're repeating, "I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy." That's the problem. The last line, the last word, "I'm the guy," and
the roster is. And this is what I want to leave this subject on.
Well, hold on. I really feel bad for Reigns.
Oh, so do I. I've said it. My sister has said it. My dad has said it. Larry has said it. Christian has said it. So many of the guys have said, we all feel sorry for Roman Reigns. However, I don't blame the fans for their reaction. No. And I'll tell you why I don't blame the fans. 10 fucking years.
12
years of the WWE shoving John Cena down everyone's throats and up their asses. You people that are blaming the audience, oh, the marks, really. Last night, Raw was in California. 2 weeks ago, I mean, every single week, Raw's in a different city. I guess the IWC's in every fucking city.
Oh, Michael, they're having fun. They usually boo the people they cheer, and they cheer the people they boo. They're all having fun, Michael.
What JBL said to start Raw last week, I wanted to throw up.
Oh, that was First Strike Initiative. That was a shock and awe to tell you that everything you're about to hear is completely normal. It happens all the time. They're having fun, Michael. Roman Reigns is having fun. Just look at him. Look at his face. He's having fun. We're all having fun.
They're imbeciles.
No, they're not imbeciles. They're very smart.
If that was the only city that was doing it, that comment would have credibility to it. But when it's week after week after week after week after fucking week, that statement can hold no water. No logic behind it. The fact of the matter is simple. And this is coming from a Roman Reigns fan. I don't know how many times I shouldn't even have to explain that I'm a fan of his. But because I'm calling for his heel turn, that automatically means I don't like the guy. No, it's because I like the guy that I want him to turn heel. Because this road that he's on,
James, he is a heel. He is a heel. I don't know how what does he have to do? What does he have to do?
Let me explain something to you guys. Because I don't know. I don't understand why I even have to explain this. It's the same thing I've been calling with Cena. A heel is somebody that does the following. They cheat to win. They verbally insult the audience. And they do villainous tactics through their character. Roman Reigns has to turn heel. I'm talking full-fledged heel, where he's cheating, he's gouging people's eyes, he's biting them, he's using the low blow, he's bad-mouthing the crowd, he's fighting good guys and cheating to beat them. That's a villain. Ric Flair was a villain. Triple H was a villain. Rowdy Piper was a true villain because he would tell the crowd, stick your head up your ass. I'm still the man. Ric Flair, how many times was he the world heavyweight champion? And he beat guys 100% clean, but was a villain and would tell the crowd, learn to love it. I'm the champ.
Right. Well, if you heard, if you read that article with Cena, where the guy's saying, when are you going to turn heel? And he says, let me ask you a question. What's the job of a heel? And the guy says, well, it's to get the crowd to boo you. He goes, well, then I did that in 2005. So is that the definition of a heel, getting the crowd to boo you?
Because he knows exactly what a heel does. A heel cheats to win, badmouths the crowd, and acts like a villainous piece of shit. John Cena hasn't done that through his character since 2003. Well, he knows he's not an idiot. He knows what a heel is.
If anything, he trolls the fans.
It's got to go back to the way it used to be, Frank, where the friggin' people that the crowd cheers are the heroes and the ones they boo are the villains.
Yeah,
when wrestling was at its hottest, that's the way it fucking went.
That has to do with Vince McMahon.
Because he is a fucking moron.
Well, no, he thinks the '80s heel doesn't work anymore. So.
I said this on the page earlier today, and a lot of people agree with me. Vince McMahon went from a guy that wanted to make the most money possible to a senile old man who just wants to play with his toys his way like a petulant child.
Well, he has no competition anymore.
But that's the whole point. But that excuse doesn't work with me because from 2001 to 2008, they had no competition, and they were a publicly traded company, but yet they were doing everything the right way.
Well, if you listen to the apologist, James, 2015 was their most financially successful year. If you read the results, WrestleMania earned a $17 million gate. They have 1.8 million subscribers. Everything is great. They're making money. But I always say it should be double.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The apologists could say whatever they want, Frank. I really could care less.
That 1.8 is going to drop back to 1.2.
I know that when wrestling was at its hottest, there were more people enjoying the program than complaining about it. Lots of guys were over. Lots of guys were being successful, and their ratings were through the roof. Now, more than ever, fans are more dissatisfied than ever. You don't have a lot of guys that are getting pushed that are over, and their ratings are in the shit can.
I mean, is it possible that Stone Cold had a million hardcore fans devoted to him? Is it possible The Rock had a million or 2 million fans devoted solely to him that tuned in every week? And they all left. They all left when The Rock and Stone Cold left. These fans left.
Think about this for a second. They lose up to 800,000 viewers between hour 1 and hour 3. And you know what their excuse is, Frank? Oh, people, it's a different time. People can watch the show on their iPads, their phones. So you're telling me 800,000 people switch from their television to their iPads and their phones?
Well, according to what I heard, is that Nielsen takes into account the ratings, online views and website hits. So that
excuse don't work.
They take into account DVRs. If you watch the replay within 24 hours, it counts as a rating point.
Really?
Yeah. If you record on DVR a show and you watch it within 24 hours, it counts as a live view.
I have had so many people turn around and say it's a different time. People use the internet to watch it, and people DVR it all.
Let me ask you this: Why isn't this a problem with shows like The Walking Dead? Why isn't it a problem with the NFL games? With the Sunday nights, the ratings are through the roof. They do a 15 on certain games.
NHL is starting their playoffs, Frank. NHL is starting their playoffs, Frank. Do you think that their ratings are going to tank?
Listen, to tell you the truth, the NHL is not a major sport. It's the fourth sport. It only has hardcore fans, and I would even, if you ask a hockey fan or a devoted hockey fan, they'll have trouble telling you which channel the playoff games are. So that doesn't fly.
But the point I'm trying to make is especially if you look at the NBA, the finals of the NBA, the ratings are through the fucking roof.
Right. Why don't we hear the NBA press release saying, oh, well, the ratings are dropping because people watch the game on their iPad and on YouTube. Why do we hear this only for WWE?
Because they're full of excuses because they don't have viewers.
Let me tell you, last night I watched Raw on YouTube. I watched the highlights. It's all the segments. And by 4 o'clock in the morning, the average views on each segment was about 100,000. That's not a lot.
No, it's not. And last night was a good show.
Yeah.
Well, we just analyzed WrestleMania. We analyzed the problems going into that.
Well,
let's get into some of the debuts we had.
Hold on. WrestleMania, in essence, this year meant absolutely shit. It meant zero. It was a complete waste of fucking time because on Raw the next night, I had a premonition about this. I kept telling you, remember, it doesn't matter about what happens on WrestleMania. All that matters is what happens on the Monday Night Following. And sure enough, I was right. Monday, within the first half hour, WrestleMania meant fucking shit.
The guy that won the IC title in a great ladder match ended up losing it to a guy that
I predict that. That was Vince giving him a reward, giving Zack Ryder a reward. I read it online. He was impressed that Zack was always in tip-top shape and ready to go.
He gave it to Miz, a guy that has no business even being a wrestler.
It was a feel-good moment for Zack Ryder. Anybody who thought that Zack Ryder was going to get a push, I'm sorry, you're a mark. If they didn't give him...
I said he should have gotten the pushes because he won the match.
James, if he didn't get a push 5 years ago at the height of his popularity, what makes you think he's going to get a push now? That was just a feel good. That was just a biscuit to give the fans, and it was actually more than anything a personal reward to Zack Ryder. And you could read between the lines when he was being interviewed. Oh, if I only hold this belt for 24 hours, I could retire tomorrow and I'll still be happy. That told you he was going to drop it the next night.
Ridiculous. They should have had somebody else win it if that's all they were going to do.
It doesn't matter. That's basically, they're telling you it doesn't matter.
Well, that whole WrestleMania to me was a complete, like you put it and like I put it, a complete waste of time.
Imagine if this was like the old days and people shelled out 70. Well, today it would have probably been about $90 pay-per-view prices. I read that actually worldwide, I think close to 200,000 people paid for that on pay-per-view.
Only 200,000 people?
Well, worldwide. Yeah, it's not. WWE pay-per-views are not distributed that much. It's only in select countries, so they even broadcast. In the United States, they're dead. They don't broadcast on pay-per-view.
Well, now let's get into some of the debuts we had on Raw the night after. We don't have to get into Roman Reigns and the reception he got because that was fucking horrifying. I mean,
oh, come on.
What?
He's not a bad guy. He's not a good guy. He's the guy.
And that's the problem. They don't want him.
And you better believe that.
Nah. I feel terrible for him because he's a victim of bad booking. Now, if guys like Steve Austin and JR are saying this, why is it not okay for us to say it? That's what I'd like to know.
I don't know. Listen, all these guys that are affiliated with WWE, they're never going to talk outright bad about the product or the decisions. These guys, at the end of the day, still want a paycheck. You know, if anybody affiliated with WWE had anything negative to say or trashed the decisions,
they'd be punished.
Yeah, they wouldn't be invited. You think Mick Foley is gonna talk bad Look at that. He got invited. He got a nice payday for this WrestleMania. If he says anything bad along the line, they'll just Mick, fuck Mick. Let's just get, I don't know, put Terry Funk in there.
Well, like I said, let's move on to the debuts. We had the debuts of Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy. We had Apollo Crews debut as well. And I thought it was pretty friggin' cool. I'm a big fan of Apollo Crews. I think he's a damn good athlete for a man his size. I think that Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore are a good tag team. The crowd engages them, which is very important.
Enzo's the blonde guy, right?
Enzo's the shorter guy that does most of the talking.
Yeah. Out of that group, he definitely has a personality. I don't know about his ring work. I haven't really seen him, but I don't know. I'm not going to put too much faith into these guys coming up from NXT because
history's not on their side.
Yeah, I mean, unless something organically happens where they can't ignore something, these guys are just going to be toiling in the mid card. And I think for every wrestling fan, manage your expectations and just enjoy the product in the mid card. The mid card is where it's at. It's going to be the women's matches, and we're going to see some real good matchups this year. You know, we're going to see the Owens and Zayn.
Well, I can tell you right now, the Payback card is actually looking. Oh, that's another thing we need to discuss. Another thing before we get into what Payback is shaping up to look like. The Wyatts have finally made the turn.
I don't know about that. Who knows? It's to be seen. I mentioned early today. I think that whole segment last night was more to again protect Reigns. Leech off the popular stuff.
They didn't turn him last week just to stick him in a tag match the week after. This is a decision that was made to change their character in the aspect of they will now be battling villains, which is exactly what the Wyatts should be doing.
Yeah, well, they ran out of people.
The money, we've had this discussion, Frank, many times. I think the money in Seth Rollins is him as a babyface. I think the money in Roman Reigns is him as a villain, and I think the money in Bray Wyatt is as the anti-hero.
Yeah, it's all about matchups. You know, we can't keep seeing the same matchups over and over and over again. You have to change things up.
You have not seen the last of Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt. And if I have my way...
What, so he could bury him again?
No. If I have my way, eventually we will get the matchup of babyface Bray Wyatt versus villain Roman Reigns. And I'll tell you why that match, at least to me, makes all the sense in the world. Bray Wyatt's entire character from an anti-hero perspective is all about bringing down the machine. What is Roman Reigns?
I know.
He is the machine's hand-picked boy.
What's his mantra been for the last year? Anybody but you, Roman. Anybody but you. Now, are they going to keep playing up to that storyline?
Listen, Roman Reigns turns heel down the line. It's a guarantee they're going to fight again.
It'll be a very good match.
It would be a Hell in a Cell match was a damn good Hell in a Cell match. It actually made sense for it to go inside the cell considering their rivalry, number one. Number two, it would give them a great opportunity to finally put Bray Wyatt over in a big way. I know. It's so laughable to think that they would do that considering the way they've abused this motherfucker.
It's just
since WrestleMania 30, the booking behind Bray Wyatt has just been horrifying.
Oh,
and
actually,
he's admitted, he himself has admitted that they don't know how to book him in the Wyatts. Now, if the man himself is admitting that the WWE doesn't know what to do with them, what do you think that means?
We could go back to
because feeding him to Cena was a great idea. Feeding him to The Undertaker was a great idea. Feeding him to the Brothers of Destruction was a great idea. You know, that loss to Roman Reigns probably wouldn't have hurt him as much if he didn't have all those losses, you know, piling up on him. And that's the problem with Bray Wyatt. When he loses a match, Nobody fucking cares because he loses so often. When The Undertaker, for example, and then we got to move on. The Undertaker went on a hot streak following his loss to Hulk Hogan at Tuesday in Texas in 1991. From that point forward, he did not lose one singles match until the Royal Rumble in 1994. He was thoroughly protected. And when he lost that casket match to Yokozuna in 1994, it took 10 guys to stick him in that casket.
Right.
And when he lost, it meant something. Bray Wyatt loses and don't mean shit.
I think the low point of Bray Wyatt's career was when Roman Reigns had the gauntlet match against what was 3 or 4 people, and Bray Wyatt was the last guy, and Roman, hurt as he was, tied, he still beat Bray in like less than 5 minutes. Bray was the third or fourth man in the
Bray
gauntlet
Wyatt
match.
should not be losing clean very often.
Just think of what that says. Roman Reigns had to go through
Bray Wyatt.
He had to go through 3 guys in one night, and the 4th guy, Bray Wyatt, he beat him in less than 5 minutes.
Retarded. Stupid. Let's hope that they finally got their heads out of their asses when it comes to the Bray Wyatt character. But like Frank said, I'm managing my expectations. Now let's get into Payback. Because Payback is shaping up to be a pretty decent pay-per-view, Frank. I mean, there's a lot of intrigue, at least for me. Oh, God, I keep forgetting.
AJ Styles.
The Bullet Club. They're here. Gallows and Anderson have arrived, and their first victims of attack were the Usos. Is that coincidence or is that storyline?
I don't know. I don't really think that means anything. Unless they do pull a major swerve at the pay-per-view and they do help AJ Styles, I don't think it means anything.
I hope that they don't help AJ because, and here's my reason why. As much as I would love to see the Bullet Club united on the WWE programming, it ultimately leads to Roman defeating all 3 of them.
Yeah.
As a babyface. And that simply cannot happen. And it's for a simple reason. Roman Reigns is not over with the audience. AJ Styles is. Now, what would be very interesting is if during that championship match, the Bullet Club does show up, but they help Roman. And the reasoning could be, AJ, you were our leader in Japan. The second WWE came calling, you picked up and left us high and dry. Well, guess what? Fuck you. Now we're here, and we're back in Roman Reigns.
So they form a new Bullet Club with Roman Reigns?
The Roman Empire.
Okay, hey.
Why fucking not? Because think about this. You have Roman Reigns as the World Heavyweight Champion. Gallows and Anderson win the tag team championships. If you wanted to throw a 4th guy in there, you could, and they could win another mid-card championship. Hell, I know that most people don't care much for him because he's not that great of a wrestler, but you could fucking throw in Ryback, have him win the United States Championship, go on a tear, and then when he finally loses it to someone, it'll mean something.
I think Ryback's done. If he didn't get over on Kalisto WrestleMania in the pre-show,
well, someone's got to beat Kalisto for that U.S. title at some point. And you want to know what? They need to go back to doing what they were doing when Cena held that belt. They need to give that belt some shine.
Well, you just mentioned the guy's name who's going to take the belt off of Kalisto.
What?
Cena.
No, he's not.
Yeah, when he comes back, he's going to take it.
No, he's not. So that's one match at Payback. We got AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns. I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind Roman Reigns is going over. It's how he goes over that's going to decide whether this is good or not. I have no problem with Roman Reigns winning the match, but I have a big problem with AJ Styles losing 100% clean. I don't think he should.
Well, listen, they already conditioned you to see AJ Styles lose, right? Against Chris Jericho, he's lost twice already.
Shit.
No, you have already. You've seen AJ Styles
I've seen him lose, but that doesn't mean I'm conditioned to accept it.
Oh.
I think he should lose, but he shouldn't lose clean.
I think
I'm all for the idea of the Bullet Club helping Roman Reigns because you want to know what? How much heat would it garner for the Roman Reigns character if it comes out that WWE is trying to stick it to the audience by, instead of actually uniting the real Bullet Club, they're sticking them with Roman Reigns? He'll get booed even more. And if he's a villain, he'll be getting the correct reaction.
Right.
I'll be damned.
It makes sense, but they're not going to do it. I think for that match, AJ Roman, I think they need to tear the house down, have a great match, and Roman wins by the skin of his teeth.
Roman can't win clean. I'll fight you to the death on that.
What do you think he's going to do? He's going to blind the referee?
I don't care what happens. He should not win clean. He shouldn't. It's that simple. Not on a guy that can't afford to lose.
He's lost already. He's lost twice already.
Now, if he's fighting Jericho, if he's fighting Triple H, if he's fighting Brock Lesnar or The Rock, that's a different story. Those guys could sustain a loss.
James, they've already showed you he's capable of losing to Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. So do you think he can't lose to Roman Reigns?
I never said he can't lose. I'm saying he shouldn't lose clean. I have no problem with AJ Styles losing the match, but there should be a reason why other than Roman's the better man, because ain't no one going to tell me AJ Styles is inferior to Roman Reigns.
So even if AJ Styles takes Roman Reigns to the limit?
There is no such thing as that nonsense of if you take someone to the limit, you still look good. No, you don't. No, you don't. That is a lie. That is bullshit. When you are two established guys and you have a great match, nobody loses. But when somebody needs to be established as a star and they get beat, it does them no good, no matter how good or bad the match is.
Well, we'll see.
That's one match. Like I said, I think Roman should win, but I think he should not win clean. I think that Gallows and Anderson should come in, fuck AJ Styles over, go with Roman Reigns. Listen, Roman is already a natural lightning rod. Use that. Make money off that. It's a no-brainer. The Roman Empire, Roman Reigns, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. I love the way that sounds. That's one match. The second match.
Well, 1 second. I hope nobody has any delusions that Roman Reigns is going to drop the title to AJ.
No, of course not. Of course not.
That's not happening.
Nor do I expect him to.
Roman Reigns
title.
Roman Reigns.
You know how long it's been since somebody won the world title and then lost it in a match a month later?
Yeah, Roman Reigns at this point in time, at the very least, at the minimum, he's holding it SummerSlam.
Listen, in my world, Roman Reigns should hold the title to WrestleMania 33.
Whoa.
Listen, in my world, he goes into WrestleMania 33 as the champion, but he's a villain and he's fighting Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. That's money. Well, that's money.
Yeah, I think they might speed that up.
That should be the easiest decision for them to make. But you want to know what? I said the same thing about Hogan and Flair. I said the same thing about Hogan and Austin. And I said the same thing about Taker and Sting. We may never get at this rate, the way history has played itself, we're never going to get that Shield three-way.
Well, you know what? Right now, you know why that's not going to work? Because a three-way match between the Shield members, everybody's going to say, well, Dean is just there to take the loss, to take the pin. He's going to take the pin.
No, WrestleMania 33, Dean Ambrose should win.
Well, you better start building him up.
They got a year to do it, and stranger things have happened.
And let me tell you, having him host the Asylum isn't a way to build him up.
Not at all. I honestly, at this point, could care less what Dean Ambrose is doing. He's feuding with Chris Jericho.
Having him on Total Divas is not a way to build him up.
I don't care what they. After Dean Ambrose got beat by Brock Lesnar, I threw in the towel on him.
Yeah, that was. I'm telling you, that was his burial. That was pulling the rug under his feet. He was
And
too.
they're stupid for doing
He-
that. If the guy's over, you fucking run with him. I don't understand what's so difficult.
People were screaming. People were screaming bloody murder that it wasn't Ambrose going against Triple H for the title. He was too popular. They're gonna protect Roman Reigns.
Yeah, but by them doing it, it has had the opposite effect. I mean, these people are supposed to be smarter than us.
No, they're smart. They're smart.
Then how do they continually step in dog shit?
They just don't give a fuck.
And that right there gives me all the ammunition I need to say what I want to say. And anyone that tells me I can't, fuck off. Next match, we got a Cesaro versus The Miz.
Cesaro's back. He looks good.
Fucking guy looks phenomenal. I love his new entrance where he comes out in the suit and he just rips it off and whips the fuck out of whoever's in the ring. I love that.
Listen, he's a freak of nature right now.
Damn right, he's a freak. This is a guy that caught Biggie Langston in midair and didn't move a fucking muscle. The laws of physics do not apply to Cesaro.
Right now, he's being presented as a showman, as a guy who does feats of strength, moves you've never seen before. But what did I say earlier? Since he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal?
No, listen, it's
has he lost at least 60% of his matches?
Of course he has.
Maybe more.
Listen, since WrestleMania 30, they haven't known what the fuck to do with him. It should have been a no-brainer.
Another guy getting too popular. It's not that, he doesn't connect with the crowd, maybe because he's Swedish now.
He doesn't connect. There's 1,000 Cesaro section signs.
No. The thing is, they did everything in their power to pull the rug on his feet. They stopped making music swing. Come on.
The second we saw that he wasn't using that anymore, I'm like, really?
No, they took that away from him. They took that away from him.
That's like telling Bret Hart. That's like telling Bret not to use a lot of his signature moves.
Don't use
the
sharpshooter. Bret, you can't use the sharpshooter.
Yeah, Undertaker, you can't use the choke slam or the tombstone pile driver. Okay. Dummy. Hogan, you can't use the boot and the leg drop.
No, you can't use the Hulk up. You can't Hulk up.
Macho, you can't do the macho elbow. They're idiots.
No, they're not idiots, James. They're not idiots. They know exactly what they're doing.
Well, then that means they're sabotaging their own talent.
And protecting their investment.
I don't think that but one guy alone cannot carry the load. One guy alone cannot carry that company.
One guy can if it's the right guy.
Not at all. Stone Cold Steve Austin did not carry the WWF on his own. He had The Rock, he had The Undertaker, he had Triple H, he had Mick Foley. Hulk Hogan did not carry the WWF on his own. He had Macho Man, The Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant, Jake the Snake Roberts, Ravishing Rick Rude, Roddy Piper. I mean, it is never a one-man show because if it was, they'd all get the Cena treatment from the crowd.
Yeah, but those guys that you mentioned, they were loved. They were universally over. So it worked. It worked. Now, at the end of the day, everything revolved around Hulk Hogan. At the end of the day, everything revolved around Stone Cold.
Fair point.
People loved it. People loved those guys.
And that's the difference between then and now. I think Cesaro should friggin' annihilate The Miz. I mean, look at it from a logical perspective. If Cesaro could beat Kevin Owens 100% clean.
Who's Kevin Owens? He's another guy. He's another guy getting 40-60 booking.
I can't even believe I'm having to say this. If Cesaro could beat Kevin Owens, he should have no problem dismantling The Miz. Hang on. Shout out to my friend Marco from my job who just texted me, "Hey, I'm watching your show." How's it going, Marco? Yeah. If Cesaro had no problem beating Kevin Owens, he should have no problem beating The Miz. And you want to know something? Frank mentioned earlier on the page, and I agree with him 100%. You want to build up Cesaro in a big way? You put that Intercontinental strap on him, and you put the rocket ship on his back. Let him go out every Monday, have 15, 20-minute matches. Believe me, they'll forget about the stupid finisher fest that Cena was having.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
You got to build the WWE roster today has too many talented guys for only one guy to matter.
Oh, soon it'll be.
They just do. They have too many talented guys. I mean, okay, let's list all the talented guys they have, Frank. Let's include talented guys. Fuck Zack Ryder. Fuck The Miz. Fuck all this nonsense. Fuck Kane, Big Show, Mark Henry. They had their time.
From the main roster to NXT, there's about 12 talented guys. The 12 really make 12 star guys that could go in the ring.
Let's see. On the main roster, you have, even including the guys that are out right now, that are going to be back by the summertime, you have Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Adrian Neville,
AJ Styles,
AJ Styles,
Randy Orton.
That's 9. Kalisto, in a lot of ways, is very, very talented. That's 10 guys. You're going to tell me that out of all 10 of those guys, you're only going to put all your stock in one guy and fuck the rest of those 9 guys? That is retarded. On so many different levels, from a business perspective and from a storyline perspective. It is retarded. And if you want to know why Reigns is getting that reaction, it's because that's what the fans are afraid of.
Yeah, of course.
Because like Frank has said 1,000 times, but for a certain time period, Cena was the guy to go with because there was nobody else. But after 2011, that was done because there were too many talented guys on that roster, and that's when the booing got really bad. And
I'll even defend them even further. During the 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, they even tried to make new stars. They gave The Miz the belt. They gave Jack Swagger a belt. They tried.
It's like they stopped trying after that. Or if anything, when guys started to get over, they would try to pull the rug out from under them. And why they would do that is beyond me. You make more money when you have more guys that are popular, more guys that are creating interest, more guys that are selling tickets. I mean, I didn't have to explain things like this.
It took two strong forces of the fans push behind CM Punk and Daniel Bryan to make a change.
And both those guys are gone.
And both those guys were booked in. CM Punk was a mid-carder. He was a 2-year champion.
Was the best mid-card WWE champion of all time. I have a friend at my job, Rich, who always makes fun of CM Punk for walking out and all the stuff that he said about WWE, which, not for nothing, the stuff that he said about WWE, most of it we already knew.
Listen, who cares?
A lot of the bullshit that he talked about. He just confirmed a lot of it.
Listen, he left. He quit. He wasn't happy at his job and he quit. Get over it.
Exactly. That's exactly what I say.
I would have did the same thing. I held the belt for almost 2 years. What's going to get better after that?
It's not even. I don't even say that that's the reason that Punk left.
I think just look at it from his point of view. What's going to get better? He held the belt for 2 years, and they still didn't give him the top spot. So what more can he do?
For so many years, people were telling me, oh, someone's got to make more money than Cena, has to sell more merchandise than Cena. Well, this guy did it, and they still wouldn't put him in the spot. I mean, so many different – the next thing they're going to say is, oh, the merchandise numbers don't matter.
Well, and
remember the excuse we were given, Frank, that the ratings no longer matter?
Yeah, the ratings don't matter. Wins and losses don't matter. But as maybe to defend them, putting the title on the top guy, there are a lot of behind-the-scene factors that go involved in it. Maybe they felt they couldn't trust Punk completely. Maybe he wasn't the most amicable employee to get along with. I don't know.
Well, to answer Marco's question, because he just texted me a question, he wanted to know what we think is going to be the fate of the NXT guys that got called up. Frank seems to think they don't have a snowball's chance in hell, Marco.
Not a snowball's chance in hell, just unless something wild happens, like we just mentioned, like with a CM Punk or Daniel Bryan movement.
Well, I can tell you right now, I said this on the page last night, Sami Zayn is going to get very, very – he's already pretty over, but he's going to get even more over, similar to that of a Daniel Bryan. I would not be surprised if that happened for a few reasons. Sami's very talented, and quite honestly, he just comes off as like a really good guy, and he comes off as a relatable guy, a guy that works hard, loves what he does, and just wants to be the best. And guess what? He ever wins that world title, it'll never come off as forced because the crowd's already kind of sort of picking him. They're picked. When the crowd genuinely gets behind a guy, run with it. I mean, that should be fucking second nature to a booking committee. You know, WWE should feel fortunate that they have a couple of guys that are over right now. I'm talking guys that are over. Dean Ambrose for a time was over. They squandered it. Dolph Ziggler for I don't know how many years after so many bad booking years was over with the crowd. He comes out to crickets the night after WrestleMania. That, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't care that Durst don't think Dolph Ziggler's talented. He says the same fucking shit about Bray Wyatt, which to me is just astounding. This is the same guy who's a fan of The Miz and John Cena. But Bray Wyatt and Dolph Ziggler have zero talent. Get the fuck out of here.
Because he sees what the average fan sees. Bray Wyatt, he cuts long promos and then never.
John Cena using human shields isn't a bad thing. The Miz, but I guess The Miz doing straight to DVD movies, that makes him such a great. Please.
And hosting Miz TV, the most boring
Miz TV. Roddy Piper must be turning over in his fucking grave, seeing that we went from Piper's Pit to Miz TV.
It's an open running joke. Whenever they have Miz TV, they always throw in the chime. It's a boring segment.
And that's what I think of Miz TV. I think the Miz shouldn't even be anywhere near that ring. The fact that guy is holding the same title that Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat stole WrestleMania 3 with makes me want to vomit.
The Miz, future Hall of Famer.
Oh. Oh.
Yes.
I'm about to do the Joker pencil trick on myself right now.
I think the Miz would be best off managing somebody. He does good whenever he mentors somebody. I think he would be great.
All right, I'll give you that. He should be, at the very least, be a manager, but that guy should not be nowhere near the ring. I mean,
yeah.
Come on. In a legit fight, Cesaro would fucking kill him. You know, people that want to talk about believability, Cesaro would fucking rip his arm off and stick it up his ass.
The Miz is the Miz is a very entertaining heel, but
entertaining in what fashion?
He pulls it off. I'd
like to know what exactly he pulls off, other than making a complete fool of himself every time he gets in the ring. Every time he gets in the ring, he lays a fucking egg. But I can't remember one match the Miz has had that was any good.
2008, the ladder match.
Are you fucking kidding me? He sucks. He's garbage.
What does he call? What does Bruce call him? The jizz.
I don't know what Bruce called. I don't know if he's gonna see this, but Bruce Blitz, shout out to you, dude. I think you're fucking awesome.
He calls him the jizz.
That's what he calls him. Well, in my opinion, the Jizz, the Miz, Mike Mizanin, whatever the fuck he wants to call himself, I think he sucks. He did well for himself in terms of marriage. Good for you, Mike. You got yourself a hot wife. Good for you. Doesn't make you a great wrestler.
When it's all said and done,
deserve to hold the same title that guys like Mr. Perfect, the Texas Tornado, and fucking Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels killed themselves to get.
Seriously, seriously, when it's all said and done, we'll look back at the Miz as an overachiever.
Oh, he definitely overachieved, but he had no business being at the level.
Somebody who took very little as far as in-ring work, but combined it with entertainment.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about the Miz anymore. I hope Cesaro. I hope Cesaro. Usually, I hope for a guy to win or lose. I hope Cesaro kills this motherfucker. I hope it's a 10-minute, 10-second squash. Miz gets in the ring, uppercut, throws him in the air, another uppercut, neutralizer, 1, 2, fucking 3.
So you tell me
you're Intercontinental Champion.
You telling me you weren't impressed from WrestleMania 27?
Impressed? That was one of the worst WrestleMania main events. Think about this. The Miz meant so much as WWE Champion for WrestleMania 27 that he was reduced to a plot device for John Cena and The Rock.
Yeah.
Moving on. Jericho versus Dean Ambrose is going to be taking place at Payback. I don't care. What you guys did to Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania 32 was criminal. That was criminal. How do you take a guy who's fucking over and then feed him to someone like Brock Lesnar like they don't fucking matter? I hate to tell you, these people that want to suck Roman's cock. I hate to tell you, Dean Ambrose was every bit of the reason that fucking Shield was good. It wasn't just Seth Rollins doing the flippity flips. It wasn't just Roman Reigns doing a Superman punch and a fucking spear. Dean Ambrose had every bit to do with why the Shield was great. 9 times out of 10, he was the guy doing all the fucking talking.
And again, going in 1 week prior to the WrestleMania, people were screaming bloody murder. They wanted Ambrose to face Triple H. They wanted him to be the guy.
I find it hysterical how Roman Reigns fights Triple H and the fans are cheering Triple H, but yet he fights Dean Ambrose and the fans are booing Triple H. I wonder why.
But they're having fun, Michael.
Yeah, they're having fun. As long as we get our agenda out there, JBL, you fucking cocksucker.
It's not him. He's just...
No. At some point in time, you have to have some sort of pride.
What is he going to say? Folks, I don't care what they say. This is a sham.
The fact that you could say a line like, oh, they're cheering the people they usually boo, and they're booing the guys they usually cheer. Do you realize how insulting to your audience's intelligence that is?
James, it's wrestling. He's getting paid a nice check.
Fucking douchebag for saying that stupid line.
He's being a salesman,
and he sucks at it. He didn't sell me nothing other than
Michael having a great time. Michael.
Oh my God, yeah, Taz was 100% right. Michael calling JBL, the blind leading the fucking blind. Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder got more psyched than those motherfuckers on that fucking headset.
Oh, my God.
I miss JR. I miss Jesse the Body. I miss Gorilla Monsoon. And I miss Bobby the Brain Heenan. You want to talk about commentators?
Hopefully, Mauro Ranallo will...
That guy's fucking good. He makes me want to watch SmackDown just as announcing alone because he actually calls the moves.
Yeah, and then you have Jerry the King Lawler making fun of him.
And Jerry Lawler plays a great heel.
Yeah, he makes fun of him calling the moves.
I like. Listen, heel Jerry Lawler is the best Jerry.
Yes.
Let's see. What else do we got? Oh, the Wyatts are facing the League of Nations. I got no problem with that so long as the Wyatts win, because they should not be losing to the League of Urinations. I mean, the League of Nations, think about this. Roman Reigns gets more heat than the League does.
Oh, my God.
The League are officially heels. I find that laughable.
I can't wait until they pair up Cena and Roman Reigns together. I don't know who's I want to see the arena walls crumble from the boos.
I mean, they would have to resurrect Adolf Hitler to get the crowd to cheer those motherfuckers.
They might. It'll be interesting to see, but I'm curious to see the reactions to that.
I'm not curious at all because
you know that's happening. You know that's happening. That's gonna happen down the pike sooner or later.
Of course, because they're fucking stupid. I'm well aware of that. Now let's get into NXT. From top to bottom, and I am not overhyping this. I know Frank didn't care for a couple things that happened on the show. Thinks a couple of guys are overrated, and I respect Frank's opinion.
Oh, that good. Not overrated, but God,
NXT TakeOver Dallas, from start to finish, was one of the best wrestling pay-per-views I have seen in quite some time. And the reason for that is not just the match quality. Not just the match quality. Card structure plays a very important part. They didn't bust their load right away and put Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura in the first match. No, they let that fester. They let it build. They started the show off with the Revival, Dash and Dawson, versus American Alpha. I mean, Frank, the fact that Kurt Angle wants to manage these guys, to me, says everything you need to know about American Alpha. I mean, they are Chad Gable and Jason Jordan are a very, very good tag team. They are very, very talented.
Well, I was out of everybody, I was the most impressed with Jordan.
Oh, they're all good. And the Revival, I don't know, because I know you watched back in the day. The Revival reminds me of Arn and Ole Anderson.
I didn't really pay attention to them too much. I was really focused on Jordan. He impressed me. Remember what I always tell you, how the first time I see somebody, they really make an impression off me?
Frank, do me a favor. Name a couple of guys that when you first saw them, you knew they were special.
Well, the last guy was CM Punk. The first time I saw him debut on ECW, even though I heard about his indies, the first time I saw him go in the ring, I said, wow, this guy is something different about him. Macho Man.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry. The last guy I saw was Kevin Owens at your house when I watched NXT. When I saw him do what's that move he does? The bomb into the corner.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I said, wow, this guy is a big guy and he moves like that.
Yeah.
And just the way he carries himself, it's something stands about.
He's a natural villain. Kevin Owens is a natural villain.
His character is that of like he's a no frills character. He dresses
and he's believable.
Up.
He's believable in his character.
Yeah, he's a kid. He's this guy's a kick-ass guy. He's not even a bad guy. He's not even a bad guy. He's just gonna do what it takes to win, and you could just see it in his face, and yeah, and now this recent guy, what's his name? James Jordan.
Jason Jordan is one half of American Alpha with Chad Gable.
If he has any type of mic skills, look out. I think this guy may be a top guy in the future.
I think both guys. I think Chad Gable and Jason Jordan, both of them should be going places because they're both good on the mic. They're both good in the ring, and they just flow well together. I thought it was a great tag team match. I mean, anytime they hit their finish, which is that spike backward suplex, and that crowd was – and Frank, one thing you mentioned that night at NXT, and I agreed 100%, that crowd was engaged from bell to bell.
And listen, at the end of the night, that's all that matters. As the fans were entertained.
That crowd is sitting on their hands. You're dead.
Now, going to Nakamura, this guy, I heard so much about him, and that was the first time I saw him. He didn't really stand out to me, but again, I went from the crowd reaction. They had a great match, but I just picture this guy coming up to the main roster, and after he loses once or twice to anybody, he's just, I don't know. Unless he has spectacular matches, he's doomed. I don't see anything in him.
In other words, ladies and gentlemen, Frank has no faith that the WWE is going to take the guys that have been signed to NXT and is going to do anything of note with them.
Yeah,
And quite honestly, Frank, he has no reason to think that they will, based on how they've taken their last couple of NXT guys and made them meaningless.
just
Look at Adrian Neville. Adrian Neville was the NXT champion for I don't know, over 200 days. The guy was main eventing, and the shows were selling good. He was putting on great matches. They bring him up to the main roster. They stick a cape on him, and he loses 60 to 50% of his matches.
60 to 70. See, that's what I'm saying. Once you see these guys lose consecutive weeks on Raw, and you see them lose on SmackDown to anybody in under 5 minutes, it just makes them like everybody else. That's what the
that's the problem. They take these guys. Tyler Breeze.
Oh,
for fuck's sake! The guy was putting on quality matches on NXT. Got his gimmick over.
Yeah, but you know what? That should be a warning sign. NXT, I think that crowd is not a good barometer. I mean, I think they're just very happy for anything, and
I don't agree whatsoever. Because let me tell you something right now, Frank. If Shinsuke Nakamura showed up at WrestleMania 32 for a match that out of nowhere, the crowd would have reacted the exact same way.
Yes, but then what do you do afterwards? Look at AJ Styles.
This has nothing to do with booking. This has nothing to do with booking. It has everything to do with if you look at the reaction that the Bullet Club got last night. Not one night have they ever had in the WWE, and they got a better reaction than Reigns has gotten in months. You look at the reaction that Apollo Crews got upon his debut. The reaction Enzo and Cass got when they came out last week. WWE wishes Roman Reigns would get a reaction like that.
And look out, that's a death knell for these guys. And
getting over. Never in my life did I think that getting over.
It's been like that. It's been like that forever. Taz said it when he debuted in Madison Square Garden. He got that huge pop. He said, "Oh, I'm in trouble because I didn't create that, and they're gonna fuck me." So it's who they want. It's who they want to put over. If they don't have, if you get over without their backing, you're fucked.
That's a pretty shitty way to do business.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that you get people that can actually make you money and you go out of your way to make them look stupid, to make them look like they don't belong. That makes no fucking sense. If you push somebody and they're not selling tickets, not selling T-shirts, the crowd sits on their hands when they come out, that is one thing. But if a guy is coming out week after week, the crowd is engaged in his matches, they're buying his T-shirts, why would you make him like everybody else? That was my argument when Kevin Owens was going after the United States Championship and he got beat by Cena twice. I said to myself, the guy's making you a ton of money in T-shirts. The crowd is always engaged in his matches. He's a damn good talker, damn good worker. Why? In the bluest of blue fucks.
And so far, all Kevin Owens has to hang on his hat is that he debuted and beat Cena. That's it. That he peaked that first night, and that's it. If you really think about it. And
that drives me nuts because the guy makes a lot of money for that company.
Well, I think maybe in their eyes, their consolation is that they're on TV. They're lucky to be on TV, and
that's bullshit, though.
They have
to be on TV. No, they're making you money, but they should be grateful just to have a spot. That is ridiculous. And I don't want to hear any of that nonsense.
They'll tell you there's 20 guys that could take your spot.
And they're fucking morons. They should have 20 guys like Kevin Owens in that company. Please.
I don't know.
When's the last time a guy has been at that size that could do the shit that he does? You'd have to go all the way back to Bam Bam Bigelow.
It's not only that; it's his presence. You can't teach presence. You can't coach it. You can't buy it. You can't manufacture it.
Promo skills. Everything about Kevin Owens screams superstar.
It's that believability, that connection. That's what I think.
Let me tell you something. Kevin Owens is one of those guys that at some point in time should be in the main event of WrestleMania. At some point in time. I can name 5, 6 guys that at some point in the future should be in the main event.
Listen,
should be in the main event.
They didn't give it to CM Punk. They didn't give it to CM Punk.
They're idiots for not doing that.
I know. That shows you that that reveals their thinking to you.
There are plenty of guys that I think eventually should get the main event of WrestleMania at some point in time. Kevin Owens is one of them. Sami Zayn's one of them. Dean Ambrose is one of them. Fucking AJ Styles is one of them. And anyone who says AJ Styles can't be in the main event of pay-per-views, excuse me. The guy's been in I don't know how many hundreds of pay-per-views. He was in the fucking Tokyo Dome selling how many fucking tickets?
Well, that's
proven financial commodities apparently don't belong in the main event.
This match coming up with AJ and Roman Reigns, we're actually seeing a dream match. We're seeing the ex-TNA World Champion and the ex-IWPG Champion against the WWE Champion. So that's for us fans. That's sort of a dream match.
Listen, there are plenty of matches I'd like to see AJ Styles have in pay-per-view events. I'd like to see him and Adrian Neville mix it up. I'd love to see him and Cesaro mix it up. I'd love to see him and Seth Rollins.
Oh, I'm sure these are matches that are going to take place. But again, what are the directions? You know, AJ Styles against Seth Rollins.
They have to have long-term booking, Frank.
Right, and who do they have it for? You know, there's always so many spots at the top.
Like CM Punk said in his shoot, you know, there's no long-term plans for anyone except for Cena. And now it looks like only Roman Reigns is going to get that, which I think is retarded. There should be 5 or 6 guys that, okay, this is what we're going to do with this guy. This is what we're going to do with this guy. I mean, The Undertaker was never the face of the company, but yet his storyline with Kane spanned from May of 97 to March of 98. I mean, Jesus Christ. They are capable of pulling off more than one story at a time. WrestleMania 17 is proof positive of that. That was one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. Every single match had a match that made sense with the exception of the Battle Royal. You know, the gimmick Battle Royal. Every single match had a story behind it and why it was happening. What was at stake? Something was at stake. There was consequence. So, to anyone that says it can't be done, just watch that WrestleMania. Damn fucking right it can be done. You know, now I know I'm probably setting myself up for failure on this one because as I've said to Frank, you know, I booked I don't know how many different fantasy cards for WrestleMania 33. I mean, for 32. And they make this year's WrestleMania look like a joke. Well, Frank, I'm going to give you 5 matches just based off of what we've seen the last 2 weeks that I think should be headliners for WrestleMania 33 if they were actually going to think long term. And you tell me what you think. I, without question, would main event with the Shield in a 3-way. Without question, that should be the main event. Roman Reigns should walk into that fucking stadium as the WWE champion, never having been beat for it since he pinned Triple H's shoulders to the mat. Seth Rollins never lost the title, gets his match. Dean Ambrose wins the Royal Rumble. All 3 guys. And if you really wanted to sell tickets, you bring in Steve Austin as the referee. Or you bring in someone on that level. Maybe him or The Rock. Somebody as the referee. Nobody loses in that scenario. That's one match I would do. Another match I would do. Bray Wyatt versus Triple H. And I'll tell you why I would do this match. What is Bray Wyatt's entire character based on? Bring down the machine. Who is in charge of the machine? Triple H. You have a year to build up to that story. And now Bray Wyatt has just turned babyface. Triple H is still technically a heel. You can do that match. Another match I think they should do, and we discussed this on the page. Frank, I'd love for you to jump in on what you think should be done because you gave a very good idea earlier tonight on what they should do with the guy. I would do Brock Lesnar versus Cesaro. And to anyone that says it is not a believable match, first of all, ding dong, dumb dick. Cesaro is taller than Brock Lesnar, and he is a freak of nature when it comes to strength. I think you can make a star in one night with that match. That's 3 matches right off the top of your head. Now, another match I would do, I say, why not? I say do Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for the U.S. title, last man standing, Texas deathmatch style. You're in. And to top it off, do another ladder match for the IC title. But you know who I'd have walking in as the IC champ, Frank? Randy Orton. And you have Apollo Crews win that title. Now, in all 5 of those matches that I just named, we didn't have to go out and convince someone to come and work to make this event feel special. You're using all the guys you have available to you. The special referee and the Shield 3-way is optional. You don't have to do it. I think that if you tell fans the Shield is fighting in a 3-way, people are going to come.
I would love to see that match for the Royal Rumble. You could do it at the Royal Rumble.
I think that match belongs in the main event of WrestleMania. That's just me. Because I think all 3 guys, all of them, made the Shield special. Not just Rollins and Ambrose. Reigns was just as important to that group.
I think they're going to do that match when they get ready to push the button on the reunion of the Shield. They'll have the triple threat right before the reunion.
Think so?
Yeah. It's gonna get done. It has to get done.
All right, real quick, what do you think about Bray Wyatt versus Triple H with the bring down the machine versus the guy in charge? What do you think of that matchup?
It's money. Of course, it's money.
They teased it a couple times.
It's money. Look at the promos alone are going to be gold to that.
That would be. I think that'd be great. I don't think you need to get into Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens.
That's
Those
going to be
have actual history.
You heard here first. That's going to be the feud of the year for 2016. These guys are going to brawl all the way to SummerSlam. They're going to brawl.
Frank just made a very bold prediction, and I think he may be right. Do you have a problem with Apollo Crews winning the IC strap from a credible guy like Orton?
Not at all. How are you going to build up a star? He's a future. If he's a viable future star, you're going to.
He's a guy that obviously he's got the size, he's got the look, he's got the skill. You know, the people like him. And lastly, you mentioned earlier, do you have a problem with Cesaro versus Brock Lesnar?
No, I think that's a match fans are dying to see.
Now, you said that Cesaro should be built up like a monster heading into that match. And how would you do it, Frank?
I would, well, for one, stop making them lose. Right?
It sounds so simple, but it's something they never do with these guys that they attempt to build up.
And I mentioned before, maybe he could be the first guy to ever hold the IC belt and the US belt simultaneously. Give him a 2-3 month strong run. That way he holds both belts and loses Raw one night and SmackDown the next night to Jabroni A and Jabroni B. Have him go on a 2-3 month run, drop the title.
We just said it. You know, Randy Orton's gonna. If Randy Orton goes into WrestleMania as the IC champion, have him lose it to have him beat Cesaro for it. Thanks to
he doesn't even have to pit him. He doesn't even have to pit him. Have him lose in a 3-way match.
There you go. There you go. Protect Cesaro in defeat. There you go.
That way, going into that match against Brock Lesnar, the fans have a fresh, vivid impression of Cesaro holding both belts and beating everybody in his path for 2-3 months. And now
and having credibility behind him that this guy can beat Brock Lesnar. Unlike Dean Ambrose, who had zero credibility going into that match and had even less coming out.
Cesaro is an opponent Brock Lesnar has
He's going to go with a guy as physically strong as Cesaro.
Yeah, this guy, he's believable. He's strong. Maybe he's not as strong as Brock, but he's can be
All
matches.
Cesaro needs is a couple of credible wins and a nice little run to be in a prime position to have a match with Brock.
And
like
he's fast.
Give him
Could you imagine Cesaro suplexing Brock from the top rope from the outside of the ring?
Could you imagine him swinging Brock?
He would.
Paul Heyman would be with his hands on his head, not believing. And I don't know what I would have be the finish of the match.
Brock, oh my God.
Brock hits him with the F5. Cesaro kicks out. Now Brock's desperate. He goes to the top rope to try something. Cesaro catches him with the uppercut. Neutralizer. 1, 2, 3. Could you imagine that crowd if Cesaro got the 3 count? The place would explode. And in one instant, you would take a guy like Cesaro and take him from being a star to being a superstar. And now people are going to pay to see Cesaro because he beat Brock Lesnar.
James, I don't know. Maybe he's Swedish. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just because he's Swiss. I don't know. But anyway,
I don't have all the answers.
That is going to wrap up for Frank and myself. And Frank, I believe you posted earlier on the page that we were promoting that we were going to be on.
Yes.
Jesus Christ Almighty. I believe we had a question from somebody. It's from Trevor.
Yeah, we answered this question. He wanted to know.
Another one that wanted to know what we thought about the
NXT guys.
Well, Frank doesn't seem to think that they're going to go anywhere because.
Hey, don't take it from me. Just take it from what you've seen.
I agree with Frank in terms of look at how they've treated people to get called up, and I honestly think, just between us, I think that's kind of a fuck you from Vince and Kevin Dunn to NXT.
Can you name one NXT guy that's been called up to the main roster that's had the most success?
Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns.
Besides those guys.
They were FCW.
But yeah, I'm talking about NXT guys.
Some would try to make a case for Kevin Owens, but like you said, Frank, after he beat Cena, he really hasn't been the same since because they made him lose too many times.
Okay, there you go.
There you go. Well, that's going to do it for Frank and myself. Frank, I had fun this time around.
Yes. As always.
As always, just promoting to everyone else because there was a poll on the OWN page. There was a vote to decide which storyline would you guys like to see rebooked. And
it looks like by a landslide, it's the invasion angle.
Well, yeah, because with 6, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 16 votes for the invasion, and only 8 for the NWO, the original NWO angle. The invasion has won. So
voting is closed?
The voting is officially closed. The invasion angle is going to be the angle that is rebooked. Larry and myself have already begun the process of starting. Frank, if you want to jump in with Larry and I and help us with this, you're more than welcome. Because Larry and I did the CM Punk thing on our own, but the more the merrier.
Okay, I'll throw you some feedback.
Please, definitely do so. Any storylines that I write up for this, I will defer to Frank, and then Frank will be like, maybe that. No,
I'll just throw you in a tip.
That sounds good. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I know I did. For Frank and myself, you take care, stay safe, and let me tell you something. If Roman Reigns beats AJ Styles clean at Payback, I would not want to be Roman Reigns that night because that crowd is going to eat him alive. It's not good. It's not good. It is not good.
Come on.
I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm Vince's handpicked guy.
Oh, God. All right.
Turn him fucking heel.
He is a heel already.
The fuck up.